when I talk about Trump, there's so much to criticize Trump over. So what I'm going to try to do is be a dispassionate, calm articulator of what his supporters are seeing, okay? So January 6th is a non-issue for them because they see it as a riot on the Capitol in the context of a year that experienced a lot of riots throughout the country and taking over of government buildings. Like in Seattle, they started their own little city.
Portland.
In Portland and stuff like that. So like this was a crazy year of protest and rioting, and that wasn't in the model of King and the peaceful civil rights leaders. It was, burn it down. And so that's how they see January 6th. The second thing is this assumption that Donald Trump was somehow connected to January 6th schematically or otherwise. There's a lot of people out there who just don't see that connection. And so for them, they're like, you could say January 6th. Now, I was on NPR the day of January 6th. And what I said is, our democracy is the oldest democracy in the world. It's older than France and England. We are the oldest democracy in the world. They were monarchs and dictators before we came along. Our Constitution is the oldest governing document anywhere in the world. This democracy that so many people on the left are saying is at danger or that Donald Trump is a threat to, it survived a civil war less than 100 years into its existence. It survived 4 presidential assassinations and 6 attempts. It survived the total collapse of our economy for 10 years in the Great Depression. It survived really controversial elections like 2001, which was much more by scales, more controversial than 2020. And so those people just don't buy into into the argument that the democracy is at risk. So, and then something that David Axelrod said, if you're talking about the condition of democracy, right, whether it's at risk or not, you're probably not concerned about gas prices, right? You're a privileged person. You're not concerned about the price of eggs and milk. And so I think it's also a rich people problem to be thinking about.
We're smart enough to be concerned about more than one thing, right?
Maybe.
I could care about how much food prices are and say, yeah, I kind of want to be my vote to count, and I want a peaceful transfer of power and all that. That's not...
even if I grant that to you, the democracy that is the sort of standard of democracy around the world is actually not at risk. And our system's held under every single thing that we talk about. January 6th, they certified that election that day. Like, our system's held.
So I think I do